to really put me in very hard situation with this stellar panel going before me, and all the other speakers. But I really loved it. By the way, like our R&D team, it's organized in a way which follows like the kind of space methodology. So we have missions being flown by the engineers. We have landing sequence, launching sequence. So we are very fan of NASA and all the space stuff. And now I'll be probably a bit more boring than the panel, but I'll have 3 parts in the presentation. So one, I will be talking about some market trends, and then we will basically talk about the version 14, what's new, what you can expect from the next version, and then we will have live demos. So keep finger crossed because it's no videos, it's really going live. So hopefully it will work. So from the Michal's presentation, and for some of you, I want to wrap up that we basically operate on several major markets. So we are creating solutions for master data management, data quality, data governance, metadata management. And on all of these, we are recognized by the top leading analyst companies and the high-profile analysts as leaders. So we are leader on Gartner Data Quality Magic Quadrant. We are leader on data governance, Forrester Wave, which we are very proud of because it shows what kind of job we do and what kind of solutions we bring to the market and to you as user. But what I'm mostly proud of is that we are continuously being recognized as the visionary company. So we are the guys who are creating the new trends and who are bringing the continuous innovation in the products we have. So you have probably seen throughout the time that we were one of the first company bringing one platform, so consolidating different solutions from metadata management, data catalog, data quality, master data management in one single platform. We were one of the first ones who were bringing self-driving approach to the data management. We were one of the first ones introducing anomalies detections and AI for data quality, automated metadata discovery. So this is what we have our core, and it's what we try to do with the product all the time. So version 14, as you will see, will be from a big part about showing you some of key innovations which nobody else has in the products. Now I'll start with the market trends because that's a huge base basically for what we do in the product, and I think it will be interesting for you. These are kind of like picked up trends we are seeing most often in the data management, data governance, data analytics markets. And I'll lead you through that in a bit and then show you how that reflects in version 14. So I'll be talking about things like data democratization, data mesh, data fabric, data observability, cloud technologies, modern data stacks, and so on. So trend number 1 we are seeing is data democratization. So given the age where we are living and how many changes is happening, how quick they are happening, what kind of economy turnarounds we have, and how the markets change, the companies needs to react more and more fast to what's happening. They rely more and more on the data. And basically, that leads to kind of like decentralized approach on how you manage your data. So coming from this very centralized, very centrally governed kind of approaches to something more decentralized, giving the power to the end users. And to be able to do that, actually, to give like this broad amount of users the ability to work with the data, you need to create technologies and give them the technologies which actually allows to do these complex things in simple manner. So there are basically 2 kind of like main things you will see on the market now. One is data fabric, which is more like architectural concept of how to create the data management landscape in the companies. The other one is data mesh. Data mesh is more focused on the organizational aspect of how you manage the data. So basically through data products, allowing the people who actually produce the data to create the data products which can be consumed by other people. So this is one of the big trends. To be able to do this, you need to have technologies which allows to collect the metadata, give the access to the data to the people, combine several tools in one stack, which is easy to use, basically. So that's one of the things we are seeing. Trend number 2 is data observability and AI-driven DQ. So data quality is continuously evolving. We have seen in past that it was mostly about creating different rules, then it switched to like ruleless approach, but still it was about people who understand the data, being able to create the rules which validates that the data the other users are using are good. Now, data observability, it's a bit mind shift in the way that it's about being able to monitor the whole systems at like very automated, no manual approach. So people who own data warehouses, for example, and they don't know necessarily what is inside the data and what it means the data are good, can still use AI and machine learning to discover potential issues in the data, like, I don't know, the schema had changed, the structure of the data changed, I don't know, volume of the data changed. Now, all this being done in the way that you can proactively detect any issues in the data and notify the people downstream that there can be potentially something wrong, and being able to analyze who actually caused the problem upstream. So this is like game changer for people owning these big platforms, that they can, like, with very like low effort, monitor the whole landscape and prevent the issues from happening. So it was trend number 2. Now, trend number 3 we see on the market, it's modern data stack. So I think everybody heard about it. So it's essentially about allowing engineers and analysts to pursue higher value activities by using cloud technologies, which are easier to integrate, easier to onboard, have lower barrier for entry. So essentially it's a combination of cloud technologies which works very well together. They don't need technical configuration. You don't need to take care about like how you set it up actually, how you make it run, how long does it take to set it up. And people can easily get approachable solutions which actually scales with the data needs you have. So it's like the combination of automated ELT pipelines combined with cloud data warehouses, combined with data visualization, data transformation, along with some offspring technologies like reverse ETL, which are basically easily accessible for anybody. Now, the trend number 4, it's tools consolidation. So we see different trends on the market where you see the tools consolidating into something we call platforms. So you know we have Ataccama ONE platform for a long time already, I think from 2017 onwards. Now, this year, Gartner recognized this trend basically, and they coined this new term called data analytics and governance platforms, which basically it's saying that different things and capabilities are like getting consolidated and converged to these data analytics and governance platforms, which provides much easier access to data to the people and to the consumers. And they essentially combine everything from data discovery over to metadata, catalogs, data quality, master data management. And now you see these trends happening from different sides. So you will see on one side BI vendors who are going to the data preparation, data integration, data catalog space. Then you see data governance vendors coming to data quality, extending to data observability and so on. So from different angles, we will see this consolidation happening. And the good thing is that Ataccama is basically on this way for a long time. So you see we are already doing this, and all the things which you see on the slide from the Gartner, we have in the platform already. So we are able to address the key organizational objectives through all the technical capabilities easily accessible for the end users. So trend number 5, cloud native technology. So we see big shift even in the traditional industries, which are like not like jumping on the trends as quickly as maybe some of the like younger companies. They are also starting to adopt cloud very heavily now, and we even see adoption of cloud warehouses going up. And I think there are key trends we are seeing. So one is containerization of the applications, the other one is cloud warehouses and consumption-based pricing. Now, Kubernetes, I think it's like very technical for a lot of people, but the question is why it is important to create containerized applications, and why you will see that it's also happening on our side is that specifically in the data management space and in the data management application, it's very, very important to create applications which are reliable, robust, and can scale. And this is like Kubernetes is one of the ways how you can achieve this. So you can create scalable applications which gives you higher reliability and gives you like much better scaling with the data volumes you have. So like in 5 years, Gartner is basically predicting that most of the commercial off-the-shelf vendors will be adopting and providing containerized solutions. And we will be launching this as well. The whole cloud we operate, it's done on Kubernetes. And we know that a lot of people didn't adopt this technology yet and they cannot operate it, but there are ways how to make it happen, and you can use basically companies which creates Kubernetes clusters for you like as a key turn solution, which you will see later on in the presentation. Now, cloud warehouses, more and more enterprise companies are adopting this actually as enterprise data warehouses. So it's not anymore like some small warehouse somewhere to play with, but it really becomes the core of the enterprises. And there is like different players emerging. What is important, you see like 93% of the total database management solution and the new revenue generated over the last year was coming actually from cloud data warehouses. So like the adoption is becoming really, really high. And there are some big benefits for the companies outside of the like simple thing, like it operates easily, you don't need to take care about the infrastructure, it scales. But there are also like new solutions coming, like Snowflake, for example, was announcing the data sharing, where you can basically share the data in very secure and transparent manner between the companies, which gives you as a company like totally different possibilities, how you can work with the data, how you can buy external data, how you can create your own data products. So there is a lot of benefits coming from this technology as well. Trend number 6, automation. I know this is the old one, and we talk about it for a long time. So we have this main tagline like self-driving technology. So we try to automate all the like mundane tasks in the data management platforms as much as we can. But why it is important now is that like the resources and the data engineers are scarce, so there isn't enough of them. Now, by Gartner, usually data engineer is serving like 5 data consumers, which means that most of the time of these people who are highly skilled and highly trained, as was said in the panel before, and they had to train a lot to like be able to implement these complex tasks, they spend on the mundane tasks. So like answering the questions like, where is this report, what's inside, and I need copy of these reports, I need that and that. So what we see as a trend is basically, if you want the like broader audience to adopt actually the data and being able to work with the data, you need to find a way how you automate the things for the users and how you move them to the kind of like no-code, low-code approach where they can really create like complex things in very simple manner. So automation will be definitely the key, and it's probably like the strongest area of data management where a lot of improvements can happen over the next years. And the last one is we see more and more these low-code, no-code data apps coming in the company. So in past, we used to have systems for everything. We bought like the solutions which are like tied to the specific use case you need to solve. But now you see a lot of companies adopting like things like Microsoft Power Apps, so creating localized applications with localized databases, managing small local problems, which obviously brings big flexibility to the business because they can come in and they can create what they need, and they don't need to like, buy a CRM system if they just need small evidence of customers or something somewhere. But it also brings a lot of challenges, like how do you govern this, how do you manage this? So like finding a solutions which can help on this side, it's also one of the important stuff, and enable users to actually use this low-code, no-code approach which they already started to adopt, but in a governed way. So these are the key seven trends, and you will see these reflected in what we do in version 14. So basically data mesh, data democratization, big topic, data observability, AI-driven DQ, automation everywhere, low-code, no-code approach, moving to business users, and enabling broader spectrum of users to work with the data in a governed way and getting it as fast as possible. So version 14, introduction. So what you will see, it's like the majority of the trends reflects in the roadmap which we have, and version 14 we are just launching. So from now on, it's early access version, it's out. The demos you will see, it's live, it's on the early access version. And we will walk you through this on real examples. So when I was, or I'll be talking about it, but to be able to stay on this on these trends and being able to continuously innovate, we also means we as a company need to invest a lot in the R&D. So last year we doubled the capacity of our R&D, so we have now 300 people in the engineering and product organization, so that allows us to bring even more innovations next year, and it allowed us to bring these big improvements in version 14, which you will see in a moment. So version 14, it's a big shift for us. So last year we were launching version 13, which was our generation 2 of Ataccama ONE platform, so it was our second version of the unified platform. And the focus was on 2 key things where we are the strongest and we have the best muscles, which is data governance automation. So automated the metadata discovery, automated scanning, profiling, data quality by default in the catalog, moving 80% of the functionality we had in the older desktop version to web UI for the business users so they can use it. So this was the major focus of version 13. Now, version 14 moves us in several areas quite significantly. So we improved a lot on the collaboration side of the catalog, on the governance side of the catalog. We improved a lot on the data quality and in the data activation area as well. Now, part of the things you will see are features where we listen to you as a customers, what is like the highest requested features. And what you will see today, it's a lot of improvements on the collaboration. So we will be showing new permission model allowing to implement federated data governance, use teams in the configurations. You will see task management, comments as a collaboration tools in the platform. We are also introducing new stewardship concept on all the catalog items or the data assets, introducing new business workflow in the application, and global search. And the last, on the integration side, we are adding report catalog, so we will have an integration with BI tools, so the part of the data assets in the catalog, you will see the reports. And these are the features which are basically like the highest requested features for the platform, but there are also some unique features to Ataccama ONE, which we are bringing on the table and nobody else has. So the key ones are, we launched data stories last year, you have seen that. Now data stories became the part of ONE, so it's tightly integrated, it's part of the report catalog. Business users will be able to create data visualization directly from the catalog. We moved on the data provisioning side or the data activation use side, so user can actually move the data out of the catalog towards the consuming application. So you can, for example, edit the reference data and move it to Snowflake. And we are introducing two new modules, which are fully new modules for us. One is One Data, which is reference and manage data sets application where you can really create like first time ever in Ataccama data and manage the data inside the application, not just the metadata. And we will have the data observability, which is extension of the data quality. So a lot of interesting stuff. And now we want to walk you through on some real example. And when I was preparing this presentation, I was basically asking for the chart of the R&D resources, so like how we grew the team over the time. And you know this story, it's usually, you know, simple question, but you have to go somewhere, ask somebody like, do we have this report already? Ask the reporting department, then you have 2 iterations on it until you get the chart. And sometimes it's even more complicated. And then after some time, you find out that the numbers are not correct anymore. So we will use this as the story on which we will show you all the major capability. And now I will invite my colleagues. So we will have 5 demo sessions, each one of them around 5-7 minutes. And I'll invite David Koliniak, VP of Product Data Governance, to the stage, and he will show you basically how you can use the improved catalog and the new functionalities I was mentioning to enable your users in the organization to work with the data, use the data, and get trustworthy data instantly and very quickly. So David, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, everyone. So let me show you how easy it is to actually get to such information. Imagine I'm Martin, and I'm looking for the number of people we have in the R&D team and the growth over the past fiscal year. What you are looking at now is the Ataccama ONE interface, where we documented all the different assets that are available within the company. The data itself, the existing reports and insights, also the business metrics and KPIs. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to start looking for headcount. And using the global search, you can see that there are multiple assets, key performance indicators, some assets, data assets, and I can open the KPI itself. You will see a description as you would expect. You would see a definition, how do we measure KPI, headcount, for example, why is it important, who is the stakeholder, so who is responsible for this definition. And at the bottom, this is the most important part I want to highlight, are the occurrences, because I can actually take a look at all the other assets in the catalog that have some relation to headcount. So in my case, I see that there are 2 tables, and there is some company headcount fiscal year 2022 report. So this actually might be exactly what I'm looking for. So what I can do is I can just open the report. I don't have to create any SQL query. I can just see the report that someone else created before me. As you can see, I actually don't see the report itself. I only see the description of the report. I can see for example, who is the owner. I can see the description, but I don't see the data. I don't have the permission to actually see this specific report. So what I'm going to use is the collaborative functionality to actually get access to this report. And because I see that Lukáš, like my colleague, is actually the owner, I'm going to create a task for Lukáš to request access. I'm going to give it high priority. I'm going to give it a name. Report. I will explain why.
Martin Hansi.
Yeah, as usual. I'm going to assign it to Lukáš because he's the one responsible for this, and this is really important. We actually needed it yesterday, but I'm going to set the deadline for tomorrow. And I'm going to submit the task. So you can now see the completely new section in the product, the task management. It's like simple Kanban board where you can see all the tasks that, for example, I created and assigned to somebody else, like in this example, and also the task that would be assigned to me by somebody else. So this is going to take some time before the request is approved. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I want to go back to the headcount, and I want to show you one more thing. I showed you before the occurrences, all the data assets that actually contain the information about the headcount, but I wanted to highlight this knowledge graph functionality. You can actually see the notification at the bottom left that the access has been granted. I'm just going to finish my thought. You can see the whole knowledge graph that's documented in the product. So I can see the relation to other business terms. I can see which department, for example, is responsible for headcount. I can see synonym. I can see some other business terms, such as working capital, that have some relationship. And I can see all the data assets. So this is really the beauty of documenting all the assets in one tool, gathering all the metadata, and obviously automating as much metadata capture as possible. So let's go back to the report. We should have the access to see it now. So I'm going to open it again. And now it looks much better. The report is loading, and I can see the structure of the report. We can open the report in a full screen and check what's there. So maybe it's going to be good enough for our purpose. So you can see really embedded preview of the report itself, which is coming from the data stories, the data visualization tool that is automatically part of the tool. We can skim through the report itself. So there is some chart with evolution of the headcount over the past 12 months, complete evolution from the beginning of the company. There is even split across different departments. So this is actually what might be good enough for me. I can see the split for R&D. So I can see we have 300 people in the R&D. And I could just take this number and go with it. But for the sake of demonstration, I want to show you that if you want to, for example, create something a bit more specific, for example, seeing the evolution of the headcount for R&D, I would actually have to filter it only for this specific type of department. So what I'm going to do now, since I have access to the data, is I'm going to take a look at the data lineage. I'm going to check which data has been used to create this company headcount report. I have a reference to this Ataccama headcount table somewhere. I don't really know where, but that's the beauty. I don't have to worry about that. I will just get this information from lineage. And now I'm looking at the table. It's coming from the data warehouse Snowflake, some R&D data. What I can do now, if I want to create my own analysis, is thanks to the integration with data stories, on the top right, I can create a specific report, data story, or I can just do like really quick and ad hoc data exploration. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to create a really simple data exploration on top of this specific data asset. I see a preview of the data that I'm working with. You can see that we have, for example, attribute department, bunch of different departments, and in our case, we are looking only for people from R&D. So the very first thing I'm going to do is create a filter, and I'm only going to filter people from department that is equal to R&D. I'm going to apply it. So the data is now refreshed. You can see only people from R&D are there, and we can continue with creating the report. So the metrics we are interested in is email in this case, because this is what we use as a unique identifier, and we would like to see the evolution over time. Nice, so just selecting the dimensions, I immediately get a chart showing what's there. I can obviously improve it a bit if I want to. I can, for example, add a title. So R&D headcount evolution, I'm gonna enable it. I wanna see the count for each month, so I'm gonna show the label. And you can notice that we are actually missing a few months, 1 month. The data ends in September. And the reason is that I have to increase the amount of values that would be visible. So now we will see data even for the last 2 months, once it loads. Yep, sorry, I guess some VPN delay. There is something weird. We will definitely get back to that. But I want to do one more thing first. You can see that it's not really sorted, so I'm going to sort it by load date. And now it looks like we will have the evolution for the past 12 months with something really weird at the end that we should get back to. Just one last thing, we now have this chart. It's obvious that this is something we would like to take a look at even in the future. So a month from now, when we would have another conference, so Martin doesn't have to haunt me again, I'm going to just save it. Yeah, so I'm going to save what I did. I'm going to create a completely new report, R&D headcount evolution. I'm going to create a new story. I can append it to existing report if I want to, but I can create a new one. And you can see that there is a new story, and it only has one widget, but obviously I can keep editing it, and I can keep other different types of widgets, show the split on gender, location, office, and so on. So I can really create official report that will be available. And this is the last part I want to show you regarding the data democratization. So whatever you do in the product, you want to share it, you want to enable people to be able to use it, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to share it. I'm not going to share it with Martin specifically, because this is not really anything that's sensitive, and I'm going to instead share it with the whole R&D team, which is including Martin. And that's actually it. So we now created a story. We shared it with the R&D, and now if I actually go back to the data catalog, you can see different sections, and this is the new one that Martin mentioned, the report catalog. And besides all the other reports in this section, this was the company headcount we were looking at. There is the new one that we just created, the My Story, that was specific really for the R&D. So now anyone from the R&D is able to go to data catalog and they will see it instantly. And they would have really detailed overview of the headcount in R&D. So this is really a quick summary going through some of the biggest innovations we added. We added a completely new task management. I showed you how easy it is to actually find out who is the person that owns the data, how the data has been created, in this case the report. So we use the lineage to information, the lineage information to find out where the data is coming from and create our own version. I guess that's it. Maybe we should find out what was the issue in the data now.
Yeah, I can't switch the slides anymore. But.
Thank you. That's all for me.
So, and David. Thank you, David. And David will have a deep dive session tomorrow, 11:25. So this was a quick fly through. So if you want to see like much more detail and see how it is in reality used and created, just visit that session 11:25. So what you have seen on the chart, and you probably have noticed, we had some issue at the end that the headcount dropped to 121, and I still believe we have more than 500 people in the company. And if I would ask the room, like how many people experienced something like this in the past, where you have seen the report and you haven't believed in the data, I guess like a lot of the hands will go up probably. And that's why we have the new data observability in place. So we can actually find out about issue in the reports before I noticed, or somebody from the business noticed that something is bad, or we noticed the application doesn't work because the data provided were incorrect. So data observability, it's the tool how you can proactively monitor all your data assets and find out something is going wrong, and being able to identify who actually caused it so you can resolve it quickly. So let me welcome Lukáš, colleague, who is VP of Product Data Quality, and he will talk a bit about the data observability and how it can help with this issue we have seen. So Lukáši.
Okay, hi Martin, and let me show you how to find out what's wrong with the data, and later we can set up the data observability to prevent from such issues in the future. So we should go to the report, and here we can see the preview, and it's obvious that something was wrong. I don't think we lost 400 people in last month. but we are in luck. The data are coming from our internal Snowflake, where actually we use the new functionality data observability. So let's go inside. And you can see that we are monitoring schema changes, record volume, anomaly detection in data, and data quality. And here I can see that today in the morning there was some issue detected on the Ataccama head count, so I can go inside. And it seems that our anomaly detection find out that there is an unexpected number of records. Actually, there is less records than expected in the last load. So we can go to the lineage, but before that, I want to show you that you can confirm or dismiss the anomaly. So by confirming, you are telling the other people, hey, there is some problem, we need to fix it, so don't use the data. And actually the AI learns from this decision, so it's used in the next evaluations. So let's continue to the lineage. And we can see that the data actually are coming from our HR system. So if I go inside the employees table, I can see that the owner is James. So let me notify James. Well, I can comment and mention James, but that's not enough for me right now. I'm going to actually create a task for him. So let's call it broken data in RDR report. Task type, data issue. Like always, high priority. Like I'm too lazy to write description, and let's assign it to James. Sorry, James. So here you can see there's task, he's notified, and he will fix it hopefully. But since I'm working with Ataccama right now, and Ataccama is connected to the HR system, I can show you how easy it is to set up the data observability. So let's go to the source, open data observability tab. You can see there is nothing, so we can open the configuration. And now I want to monitor tables with employees, so let's pick term employee and also personal data. Well, I think it's enough to monitor it weekly, let's say every Sunday. And the system also recommends me to monitor the schema, and I'm fine with daily monitoring. I think James should know about new issues, so let's notify him in application. And also we have our Slack channel, so let's get notifications here as well. Now I can save it. All the jobs are scheduled, and now I just need to wait for notifications if something weird happen in the system. So that's the data observability in action.
Lukáš, can you also set up checks on the phone number quality so we can see actually how good are the contact numbers?
Okay, so you mean in Ataccama head count, table. If we go to the profile, we can see that there is phone column, and actually we are missing around 5% of values. So we should set up also data quality check here. And thanks to our data observability, which combines AI-based and a rule-based approach, we can be more proactive. So let's find out the rule, international phones, publish changes, and now we are done. From the next round, we are also validating all the records in the table by this rule. So, and to sum up it, we created new data observability module, which combines AI and rule-based approaches. Also, it includes schema changes. Users can create tasks, have notifications, and that's it.
So simple as that. Thank you, Lukáš. So again, more on the observability, how it exactly works, how you can set it up, on different systems you have in the company. Come 3:45 today to the deep dive session. The guys will hold for you, and you can discuss how it exactly works. So moving away from this, so you can imagine like data observability, it's like very complex in terms of data processing because the whole point is that you are trying to monitor everything you have in the system or like everything you choose. Like you can choose business terms you want to watch. Like we have seen Lukáš set it up for the employee data and personal data. And the systems run the checks regularly, proactively on the whole system. So that means you are running a lot of jobs which needs to be executed and they need to be pretty fast. Now, from the past, we have very strong data processing engine. And the data processing engine works in the way that we take the data, we process the data quality checks in our engine, and we return the results to the catalog. We also have something we called push down, and we had this big data processing already for several years, so we can natively run the jobs on the Hadoop and Spark. Now we are introducing new functionality and partnership with Snowflake. So Snowflake takes a lot of traction, a lot of people is using Snowflake for all the critical data. And this allows us actually to use the state-of-the-art technology Snowflake launched, and they call it Snowpark, to actually execute our jobs natively on Snowflake. So we don't need to actually move the data to the data processing engine on our side. At the same time, we can use all the logic and all the business rules which you have seen in the web UI, so we can actually push down not like the simple SQL queries, but it really executes our code on the Snowflake. And I'll invite Lenka, our product manager for data quality, to tell you a bit more about it, how it works. So Lenka.
And this is right. So in version 14, we are introducing a completely new way how to process data directly on Snowflake, which brings all the Ataccama data quality functionalities, including rule evaluation, data quality monitoring, profiling, etc., closer to the users of Snowflake. So how does it actually work? The ability to process data from Snowflake is not exactly new for us. We were always able to take whatever we want to do, like evaluate the phone number quality on the table with Ataccama headcount, take this configuration, digest it by our Ataccama data processing engine, and this data processing engine would basically request the data from Snowflake, download it to the engine, and process whatever we need there, provide it to the users. And don't get me wrong, this engine and this way of processing data is really efficient. We are really proud of having it fine-tuned to provide the best possible experience and make this really fast. But if we are talking specifically about the Snowflake, which is actually a cloud database, which is famous for having like really large data inside its tables and having a lot of tables that are changing in time, it means that those processing are frequent and, let's say, with a high load, and that could actually cost some precious time. So instead of downloading all the data that we need to process from Snowflake to our engine, we are taking all the Ataccama configuration and utilizing, as Martin already mentioned, the Snowflake Snowpark library. So we are translating the configuration to actually Snowflake SQL, processing everything directly on Snowflake. So let's take a look how it actually works. Well, from user perspective, not much changed, because if I take a look on connection of my Snowflake database that we are using for this Ataccama headcount, the only change is that when we are actually connecting to this Snowflake, we have one tiny new checkbox here that we can check, push down processing enabled. And if we do this, that means that from now on, every user of Ataccama ONE platform will be directly utilizing this push down functionality, unless they opt out. So specifically on the Ataccama headcount table that Lukáš was showing, if we would go to the tab for data quality, here we already have the new term that was assigned by Lukáš, and now we would like to actually evaluate some rules that were already assigned to this table, plus this new rule, new evaluation that comes together with international phones. if my rules were simple enough, meaning if I would be just comparing one value to another, I could go by myself to go directly to Snowflake and actually write the SQL select there, right? But if we are talking about more complicated rules, like in case of first data, where I need to actually do some parsing, I need to actually check if my data is present in some reference data, or in case of the email validation, when I need to do some parsing, look on the structure, look if really it corresponds to all the requirements I have on emails, then it's complicated. And I wouldn't be able to do this. So that's where I can take leverage of Ataccama, do everything, configure everything in the business-friendly environment that Ataccama ONE offers. And if I then simply click on evaluate, the processing starts on Snowflake. So let's take a look actually. I can switch to my Snowflake instance where I'm logged in and I see some activity here. If I refresh this, hopefully we should see that some new processings are actually happening. And we are running a new job. And if we actually take a look on how those 4 rules are being evaluated, it's not exactly some simple SQL that I would be able to write by myself. We are using it, as I mentioned, quite a lot of different reference data sets. We are actually using some specific functions that are not available on Snowflake as native functions, but are deployed by Ataccama as so-called user-defined functions, so I'm utilizing that. And I am for sure also storing some data in some temporary tables managed by Snowpark, so it's quite complicated. Fortunately, as a user, I don't really have to take care about that. For me, it's only to wait a moment and got my result in the table and see what's the quality of the phones. Of course, this ad hoc data quality evaluation or running the data quality evaluation is only one of the options that we can actually process directly in the Snowflake. So it's not just data quality evaluation, but it's the profiling, the functionality that gives you actually insight into what is in the data, what are all the patterns, what are all the statistical analytics, etc. Also, very useful is the third case, which is utilizing this for data quality monitoring projects. Those are configurations where we are not only interested in the individual results, hopefully we will see, not only the individual results, but where we can also configure some of the more advanced reports, including looking, well, of course, the demo is not working right now, but this is exactly the place where you could actually arrange the individual rules into some aggregations, compute the aggregations of the rules, look on the samples that are invalid, and actually track the quality back to, let's say, the origin of the problem, and etc. So, unfortunately, let me try to refresh this once more, if you are lucky. Yeah, this is better, this is better. So we have still here my 4 rules, but I'm also setting some of those filters, roll-ups, meaning that I would like to see aggregated results per our office, and displayed in an aggregated form in more advanced report. So yeah, so this is it. To summarize, what we are bringing you in version 14 is for you if you are already using Snowflake or are you thinking about Snowflake. We are bringing you the option to bring the data quality evaluation, the insight into data and its quality to your users in a really efficient format and in really well-performing way. If you would like to learn more later today, I'm actually having a deep dive session where I will be showing more about both the data quality options in Ataccama and also looking a little bit under the hood of the processing itself, how this is being done and how everything works. So that's it.
Thank you, Leni.
Thank you, Martina.
So 2 to go, bear with me. It will be quick. So I'm not sure if you were watching like properly, but I have noticed that the phone numbers actually had a big drop in the quality. So I think it went to 70% or something. And when you talk about the data quality, it's always in the context and always in the context of some processes in the company. So for example, for me, the phone numbers are very important because our engineers are on call for you. So if something is happening, they need to react and they are getting these pager duties messages automatically. So if we don't have the phone numbers, we will probably not reach them. So I'm wondering like why this happened, and I'll invite Diana, our product lead for One Data, which is the new module, to show you a bit around how we can analyze this issue, why it happened, and how we can actually improve the quality of the data. So Diana, welcome on the stage.
Thanks, Martin. Okay, so you want to call our engineers during the night, right?
Yeah, that's my pleasure always.
Maybe somebody sabotaged the data, and the phone numbers are gone. But let's try to investigate. What happened? I will try to look at the invalid data samples to see if the data is the problem or some of our configuration could be the problem. 30% drop in data quality. Well, I see some issues with the names, but nothing serious, right? 91%, 99%. But phone numbers really look bad. Missing values, we need to sort that somehow. But what I see also is a number which looks perfectly normal. I live in Czech Republic, and +420 is the country dial code, and then a normal phone number. So, well, I would say there's nothing wrong with the data. Probably the rule configuration needs some love. So, let's look at the rule. This is a rule which is configured on the front end, yet it's quite complex. We do some data preparation. We also look at the values that are empty and try to highlight that the values are empty. This is what you see on the left side. Let's see what's next. Then we are checking for the length of the phone number. That's also looking quite all right for me. And last, we are looking at the dial codes. That's somehow what I identified as that could be a problem. What we are doing is that we are taking the prefix and checking it against a list of reference data. So my suspicion is that there is a problem in the reference data. Let's have a look at it. Let me close this one. I already see here that we are using One Data this time for storing the reference data. I will open it up, and if the gods of demos are with me, it will actually open. Okie dokie, we have it. So what you've seen now is that I'm opening a data set, which is not in a foreign data system, it's not in a separate reference data management, but it's right inside the One Gen 2 platform, right? I open the data set, and here I can see my reference data. It's a country code, it's country codes. I have names, dial codes, and the ISO codes. And let me confirm my suspicion. I will check if Czech Republic is there. Are you there? Well, the country is there, but the dial code is not there. This one we know, so I will edit it right there. 420 is the correct country code. And now we have it in the data. This means that the next time the rule runs, it will consider this reference data as the correct version, and the values that we saw before won't be flagged as invalid. What I see here is that we could be repeating this problem further on, right? Because there are other country codes which are missing. And I kind of love to delegate. So let me see if it's a manual job, first of all. Let me look at the dial codes and see how many of them are empty. Well, not so many. So I will task someone in our organization to fix them. I love doing this. Okay, not Martin. I can't do anything to upset the boss. Okie dokie. So what I did, I created a new attribute. So right inside the data, there is no other configuration, no magic. There is no colleague of mine doing this. This happened live. I created a new attribute. I named it, and now I will give it values. So I will assign all these records to Olivia. You will meet Olivia also in our deep dive later. Tomorrow, I will advertise later. And I assign these records to Olivia for fixing. Before, David was showing you a way to assign the whole entity, create a task and assign it to the entity. So he showed you the task management system. This is just another way to do it. Of course, I can also create a task. Alrighty, so let's imagine some time passed. Olivia fixed everything. And the new reference data set looks something like this. Everything looks amazing. This shows how I would fix the reference data set and how this different reference data set would then benefit the data assets we are assessing using the reference data. But one data is not only meant to store reference data. This is just an example of a data product we can store in one data. The data asset we were monitoring was the ATA headcount. We can edit the data directly and correct it because it's in our system. But if it was not in our system, if it was not something we could govern, if we didn't have the rights to edit this data, how could I create a better data set? What I can do is actually take an ungoverned data set from our data catalog and import it into one data, materialize it into one data, and there correct the data. This is exactly what I did in this example. I took the ATA headcount data set and I imported it to one data. Now I have full control. I can edit any data, any value I want. So, for example, this guy is somebody else. Oh, this lady is somebody else. Right? I can assess data quality. I can assign more data quality rules. So if I would like to do so, I can assign other terms and data quality rules underneath. And I can assess the data quality. I see immediate feedback at the cell level, at the record level, and I can compute for larger data sets easily the whole table level data quality. I have all the functionalities that I have in Gen 2 as a platform, right? I can do comments, I can create tasks, I can share the information so I can govern it as a proper data product, and as you've seen before, I can create data stories. I can create a data exploration, or I can create directly a data story. All right, so to summarize, we are, I have magic. Okay, so to summarize, we have introduced a new module called One Data in the Gen 2 platform. This module allows us for the first time to manage, to create, to manage, and govern data sets right inside the our platform. We are having a business-friendly user interface, so anybody in your organization can create these data products. It's not about some complex science, so I could do it even during the demo, so all good. You can use filters, you can create validations, you can use all the functionality in our platform for this. If I sparked your interest, there is a deep dive session later on. It's going to be tomorrow at 10:40. And Zdeněk, Obst, and I will show you more secrets, how to use One Data. We'll talk about data mesh, data products in more details, and I'm happy to hear your feedback, questions, and hopefully to get inspired. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. So thank you, Diana, Lenka, David, Lukáš. It was great demos. So we have a lot of these new cool features, and what we are also trying to improve is the way how you can actually get access to Ataccama products. So we are now bringing you a whole new solution for self-served cloud approach, where you can actually get access to our environments through something we call One Portal, which is the central way where you can go and deploy your own application or Ataccama applications. At the same time, we are also improving on how we will be managing the self-managed deployments and how we can automate those. So Lukáš is going to be the last, Lukáš Jonáš is going to be the last one, and it's our engineering lead for One Portal. He will walk you through in a few minutes about these two things, and then I'll just wrap it up and you can go for lunch. So I think we remaining on the slides this time. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Hi. So actually, I'm not that brave, and I pre-recorded a video of me operating the new product, which is featured on the next slide. So if I may.
Magically works without your hands.
So this is me doing it yesterday. So this is a completely new product. We call it Portal, and this is the future of how we're going to operate our cloud presence. So this is actually me creating a new environment in the cloud, so I can easily go select a version of the product, select the suite. Some default content, and then I can choose wherever I will deploy my instance of the product. So I clicked to create environment, then wait just a couple of minutes actually, and after the wait, my environment appeared. So now I can enter the product, and I'm inside the platform, and I can start working on wherever you might have seen from my colleagues. So this is what I'm about to talk about tomorrow in the deep dive session. We'll cover this new platform, the portal. I'll show you what we are planning to do in the cloud, and we'll touch upon other topics like how to run a hybrid deployment. So please join me tomorrow on my session.
Thank you, Anashi. So tomorrow 1:55. So that's it. That's version 14. You haven't seen everything. There is more. So in the deep dives, if you go there, you will see more. Early access of this platform for like beta users to play out with the features, give us the feedback, will be available in November. You can now go to portal.ataccama.com, which is the portal Jonas was showing. You can either watch read-only demo there or play with read-only demo of observability. Or you can register to get access to trial of data observability through One Portal. And later on, we will be launching the One Portal on the rest of the products. So to wrap it up, version 14, like a lot of shifts, big shift for us in many areas, a lot of new features from stewardship to business workflow, global search, over to collaboration features, like task management commands, new permission model allowing to create federated governance, work with teams, wholly new report catalog, and integration with BI tools, which will be coming later on in Q1, and native integration with data stories, so you can actually get your own visualization tool directly in the catalog. And then basically data provisioning, which we were not showing in this demo, but will be shown in Diana's demo, so you can actually export the data, for example, from one data to, I don't know, your Snowflake instance or any other JDBC database, and use it in your ETL processes or wherever you need this reference data. And then data observability as the main update on the data quality side, which allows like anybody without any technical skills to monitor the whole system in fully automated way. So that's version 14. Everything we do there is to enable you, data people, and your organizations to become more data-driven and working with governed, trustworthy data, which are instantly accessible to anybody in the company, in the way that they are still properly protected and you have all the control on top of it. So that's version 14. Thank you very much. And we still have 16 minutes, so you can go for the lunch a bit sooner. And thank you for the patience.